Welcome to the Family Skeptical, Parenting Through Nonbelief.
We're a married atheist couple raising two wonderful, strange children. We ask big questions, dissect weird parenting moments, and examine how society ignores or misrepresents families like ours. If you're any stripe of nonbeliever who's involved in raising children, welcome. You are our people.
Our kids have heard all our swears, but yours might not have. So be thoughtful if there are young people listening with you. Whew. For us, February is almost over. Which I am very happy about.
Why?
I think I braced myself knowing how hard January would be and then overestimated how much I was going to be able to do in February.
Is this work-wise?
I think everything. Well, I sort of pushed everything for work in January and then was like, well, I can just do all that stuff in February.
And that didn't happen. All right.
Then that made February hard, but it's been okay.
It has.
We're making it through.
We are.
So you brought up something that I feel like I've actually posted about on Instagram before. Or maybe I just did in my head. But I feel like I don't know if this is like an all teenager. I think this is probably an all teenager thing. But I feel like we've kind of, as the kids have gotten older, like some of the variety of things that they liked doing when they were younger has kind of gone away. So I can't really get them to do craft projects anymore.
Right.
It's not like we can read children's books.
No.
We could. I loved reading children's books as a teen with my mom, but that doesn't seem to be.
No, you were an outlier.
Yeah. Like pretend play.
It's gone.
For Jaeger is pretty much gone. So just some of those things to keep the day going have kind of faded away.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like what is left is games, like card games, board games. That is kind of all we have left on our plate.
Balloon soccer.
Whatever
it is.
Yeah, physical, sporty stuff too. But in the winter, it's kind of down to, my mom did get them back into the awesome balloon games, which is great inside. But a lot of that sort of sporty stuff is also off the table during the winter. So we're basically down to card and other games. And that is fun. And I like that they have more energy for that. But I would also say, neither Jaeger nor Reader is at a point where they are superb at losing at games. And so that just creates a very difficult situation, which definitely came up this past weekend.
Yes, twice. We were once with a card game and the other with Reader's basketball game. Generally speaking, Reader responds well to prompts to, frame losses as learning moments and all that sort of stuff. But still, Reader is an emotional creature, right? As we all are. And Reader is, going through the early stages of adolescence. And Reader has always been a big feelings kid. So it's completely understandable and, of course, acceptable that Reader has, big responses to loss, moments of losing a game. And I don't know, I like that they've gotten so much better at shedding the anxiety and the adrenaline of it and turning the corner to being calmer, more rational, sociable again.
Yeah.
But I also want to make sure that they have that heuristic, that shortcut that they can use to say, okay, the feeling of disappointment comes from a wonderful place of honesty and effort and love and enthusiasm. And now, not but, And now, what can I gain, right? What wisdom can I take away from this? What can I do to improve my emotional responses in the moment? What can I do to improve my performance on the field or in the game or whatever? It's like in basketball this past weekend, they were talking about how the refs had it in for them. And I talked about, cognitive bias and sports, and how you're always going to be more likely to see fouls done against your team, whether you're watching or participating, than you are to see the fouls that the other team perceives as being done against them that aren't called. Like,
Yeah.
it's the nature of sport.
Yeah. To me, the stuff with family games is harder.
How so?
So like, it's been interesting with Jaeger, because like they've been really into Pacific Rim.
As they should be.
And he got a game like
Great
based
franchise.
on Pacific Rim, which is exceptionally hard to play.
But it is a very cool game.
It is. I still don't understand it, but we play it.
Okay.
And he has done an amazing job being okay when he loses. And I'm not sure why, because he cares about it so much.
Right, because he just likes playing it. He likes being in that world so much that any interaction with that world is time well spent.
So he can be like that. On the other hand, like there's this game Quirkle. If you haven't,
dear heavens.
I love Quirkle.
He shuts down when he loses in Quirkle.
There was one time where he didn't win, and then he was just like, I'm done.
Well, no, it wasn't even that. Like he was saying, I'm never going to play this again with you ever. Like there were a lot of pronouncements at the end of that.
And so with Quirkle, like he won't play it anymore. At all.
He just like play it with me.
Oh.
Where it's not any of the usual suspects. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I'll ask.
It's a great game. It's just like beautiful game.
It is one of the coolest games.
You like match shapes and colors, and it had like, it's so satisfying, but
it really is a wonderful game.
He is done with it. So there's like,
we should get sponsorship for that. QWIRKLE, Quirkle.
So I feel like, right now, for him, it's a little bit like one side or the other. And then there's some stuff where it's like, it's not his favorite thing and you kind of have to convince him. But with Reader, it's been a little bit different with games in the family.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. They very much are different children, but this is one way where it's really pronounced. Jaeger doesn't like losing as much as the next person, but Reader really takes it to heart in a way that is a blessing and a curse. You know, there's a certain amount of effort you put into performance that, you know, it extends to the pride that you take in your performance. You know, how you value the activity in your life. And so in some ways, I don't want to come down too hard on them, because I want them to feel like that impulse to take things seriously, regardless of how other people might value that activity in their own lives. However, Reader chooses to value an activity in their life is totally up to them. Right? So like, I want to help foster this agnostic sensibility, or it doesn't matter where in their life they apply it. But at the same time, when we're playing like a family game, like it's called a normal card game, and it is so much fun. Reader, because these games go on for a while, Reader, twice now, has gotten so invested in the outcome that when they lose, even if they rally and bring it back and perform well, but just happen to lose because of chance. They've had a couple of moments where they don't do the thing that they typically do, like what they do in basketball, where they're getting blown out in basketball, but they're still diving all over the freaking court, like getting steals, like last game, like sliding on their back out of bounds. It was like, it's wild how much effort they put into things. And I love that. And I don't ever want to like squash that enthusiasm or convince them that they shouldn't trust themselves when it comes to where they apply that enthusiasm. That's just part of life, is figuring out, what you value. So I'm not going to tell them when and how to do it. I just would encourage them to maybe frame things in a healthy and productive way, because I love playing games with them, except for the fact that I'm constantly looking over my shoulder, waiting for that other shoe to drop.
Yeah.
And that when something goes sideways and they start slamming things and throwing things, and it's not the same kid as the one whose team could be getting blown out in a game of basketball, where they are really exerting themselves and like building up all that adrenaline. It feels like there's huge disconnect, because if anything, the experience where there's this huge physical expenditure and this rush of adrenaline should be the one where, when they don't get a desired outcome, that's when they should be like throwing shit. They should be taking their shoes off and throwing them at the door, whatever, like something that's more pronounced than what we get in basketball, which is them all smiles typically, and they're like learning from the experience and be like, yeah, we got killed, but I'm really proud of how I did. But in like a card game, I don't know, maybe it's like the fact that they don't have that ability to expend nervous energy.
Oh.
Maybe if while we're playing a tense card game that we break every, 10 or 15 minutes, and we have them like go do 10 burpees or 50 burpees or whatever. I don't know. Like, maybe that's what it is, come to think of it.
I mean, but I have a different...
It's a weird disparity is all I'm saying. I have not been able to figure it out.
I have a different idea.
Please.
It's that they're playing against their sibling.
I truly... Or a parent.
Or a parent. I think there's something...
Could be.
More
Could be
challenging.
Because they also flip out when they're playing video games sometimes.
That's
and they're
true.
playing against randos.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's worth investigating. I'm not going to pretend like I have the answers. And I'm also not going to sit here and say whatever answer I do figure out, if I do ever at all, is some sort of like blanket suggestion that I would make to another parent. Like, every kid is obviously, we know as parents collectively, so different. Yeah. And there is no one size fits all.
But I do have to say, I am looking forward to the time where this gets a little bit less difficult, just on the emotional side.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But yeah, maybe it's all about the burpees.
Maybe it is.
So I know this is super short, but we're going to wrap it up here. We have some sort of wild scheduling happening between spring break and some other things. So I wanted to make sure that we had something to get out, and we will have a longer episode coming soon. But
and we have such cool interviews coming up. Like, Rachel was the start of like a 3-parter, kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm so excited.
Yeah, no, it's very exciting. So hopefully there's some things you're going to enjoy. We have to thank Jonathan Zalbin and First Frame Music for the music for this podcast.
And that wraps up this episode of The Family Skeptical, where nothing is sacred except for our kids.
Okay.
Check it out. Look at
Yeah.
us. 15 minutes in and none.